Welcome to Jesus Before Money. My name is Corey, and I'm happy that you're here. Well, I made a New Year's resolution, more like a goal. One of my main goals, anyway, is to become a certified Elliot Wave analyst. Now, I'm not there yet. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is kind of the preliminary work that I've been doing on my way to my certification. My goal is within 3 to 6 months to get there. By the middle of this year for sure, I want to have that done. But I just feel like if you can take the regular technical analysis, the book, kind of the foundation that was laid by Edwards and McGee. It's just called Technical Analysis of the Stock Market by Edwards and McGee. If you could take that type of technical analysis and you combine it with Elliot Wave, which I think is a lot more detailed, and it kind of, I think, eliminates a lot of the guesswork. I mean, there's still guesswork, but then now you're talking about approximations, you're talking about risk-reward setups in much more detail, and I think it leads to just better outcomes for people financially. All right. So with all that said, today I want to focus on Solana. I don't know why I started on Solana. I just did. But I'm going to read from Isaiah 53, 1 through 9. And then we're going to go over Solana. Then we're going to use what I'm seeing in Solana and combine that with the SPX, what I'm seeing in the SPX, and the 10-year yield to try to create a thesis here of what's going to happen in 2026. Right? We know that 2026 is a midterm year. And we know that 2026 is now, the 250-year celebration for the United States. So this should be a very bullish year. And we'll explore that, okay? So let me begin. Isaiah 53, 1 through 9. This is the prophet Isaiah from the Old Testament, which we believe is pointing directly at Jesus, okay? Who has believed our message? To whom has the Lord revealed his powerful arm? My servant grew up in the Lord's presence like a tender green shoot, like a root in dry ground. There was nothing beautiful or majestic about his appearance, nothing to attract us to him. He was despised and rejected, a man of sorrows, acquainted with deepest grief. We turned our backs on him and looked the other way. He was despised, and we did not care. Yet it was our weakness he carried. It was our sorrows that weighed him down. And we thought his troubles were a punishment from God, a punishment for his own sins. But he was pierced for our rebellion, crushed for our sins. He was beaten so we could be whole. He was whipped so we could be healed. All of us, like sheep, have strayed away. We have left God's path to follow our own. Yet the Lord laid on him the sins of us all. He was oppressed and treated harshly, yet he never said a word. He was led like a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep is silent before the shears, he did not open his mouth. Unjustly condemned, he was led away. No one cared that he died without descendants, that his life was cut short in midstream. But he was struck down for the rebellion of my people. He had done no wrong, and he had never deceived anyone, but he was buried like a criminal, and he was put in a rich man's grave. That's the prophet Isaiah from the Old Testament. If you know anything about the story of Jesus, it is it has a very high correlation that Jesus was, yes, the Messiah, the one that Isaiah was pointing to. Okay, now let's begin. This is just for educational purposes, guys. I know sometimes crypto videos, I might get 100 views, but I'm gonna I can't say that no one knows what's gonna happen, okay? But this is the best shot I got, right? Now, briefly, for those who don't know what the Elliott wave is you have these impulsive waves. It's like herd mentality, right? The psychology of people, they gather into a trade. and they start following and pumping it, right? And then all of a sudden the trade stops, and then they all back off, and then the trade starts again. So the markets, whatever market it is, goes through these waves. And when you have an impulse wave, you'll have 5 impulse waves higher, well, 3 up, and then you always have 2 corrective waves, and followed by, and then you have these larger degree cycles. Let me see if I can explain. I'm just going to explain this as best as I can by looking at the chart, okay? So what I believe going on with Solana is that this was subwave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to give us a primary wave 1. Now, primary wave 1 goes into a corrective wave. The evens are corrective, so 2 is corrective. And now, what we're in right now is a primary wave 3 that is still unfolding, okay? So what I believe is we had a subwave 1, 2 with an extended subwave wave 3, and now we're in a corrective A, B, C, 4. Okay, what does that mean, Corey? What that means is subwave C should. We're waiting for subwave C to end. Where does that end? Is there are parameters, right? But it's still, we don't know, right? For now, the target in the sand is 95.31. I wish I could be more helpful, but from everything this is a 5 wave. It looks like we're in 4, and we're going to make one last wave down. Okay, this pattern fails if we break below 95.31, but I just don't necessarily think that that's going to be the case. I have no idea, right? But what I want to share with everybody is that after this wave 4 is done correcting, right, we should have an explosive wave 5. Now, wave 5 can be truncated, but I just don't think so. Because when I combine the Elliot, Edwards and McGee technical analysis, right, what does this look like? This looks like, to me, a cup and a handle pattern, much like on silver, okay? So if we do that measurement from the bottom and we go to the top, you know, that's about $260. So you add 260 to 267, call it 270, you know, you get right around, what was that, 530? Okay? And then I thought this was interesting. If we do a trend-based fib extension from wave 2 to the top of wave 3, and then we just say we end here at 95.31, we kind of put in a double bottom, right? That trend extension for wave 5 will put us up about $550. So if I combined what I'm seeing in the Elliott wave with just, you know, I don't want to say traditional, but the you know, maybe a more standard, you know, I'm coming to call it basic technical analysis, you know, they're kind of lining up to a move on Solana above $500 after this wave 4 correction, after this corrective wave 4 is done, which I think is very interesting. Now, there are many different alternative views to Elliott wave, right? And like, this is the one that I see that makes the most sense to me, right? And I would probably call this one of the more bullish scenarios, okay? But what are we heading into? We're heading into midterms, and we're heading into the 250-year for America. So just think of Trump's mindset, right? He wants to make sure he's going to come up with something to try to juice this economy, right? And he's going to make his promises with crypto. So by the time you know, midterms come around, the crypto people remember him. That's my opinion. That's what I think. Now, the timing on this is interesting. Before we move to the SPX and talk about the 10-year, I want to make sure if everyone knows, if this $95.31 breaks, okay, and I'll talk about an alternate pattern later, but we could be looking at a much larger move down, like a actual bear market. I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case because of where we are with the midterm cycle, but it's definitely possible. Okay, so your target on that would be like the $30 range, this pivot here, and that would still make sense because wave 4 cannot go into the territory of wave 2. Okay, all right, and let's end here on Solana actually. So after we finish wave 3, which I think could take us up, this $500 range. I'm going to actually put that down there. So this would be wave 5 of primary wave 3. Okay. So once that tops out up here, we would go into a primary wave 4 correction. Now, primary wave 4 cannot go into the price territory of wave 2. So this 267, 270 range would be the most likely target for wave 4 to find support before we ultimately go into wave 5. And I have no idea how far. I'm not saying we're going up to $3,000 for Solana. Maybe. I don't know where wave 5 is going to be, but it should be equal to or higher than wave 3. So this is my most bullish case for Solana is that we maintain. We do not break below this 95.31. We can go a little bit, but not much, right? Maybe in the $80 range. But and then we conclude a subwave wave 4, close out primary wave 3 up to the $500 range. You're looking at a 5x. Have a decent sized pullback for wave 4, somewhere to like the 270 range, no less than 270. Before the last and final wave 5. And now it would all depend on how long wave 5 goes for. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Okay. All right. Now, the things that could interrupt that and get us closer to this 2706 is, everything I see about where we're at in the SPX. This is the S&P 500. Is I have a 1, 2. I have a 3, a 4, and then now we're pushing a 5. We're closing out 5 of what I think is 5. If I start from the COVID low, I got a 1, 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that we need to see how long wave 5 goes. Because we are... for everything I'm seeing, due for a correction in the stock market. If we have a correction in the stock market, crypto might go lower, right? I think that'd be a huge buying opportunity before, you get a massive rip. It could be who knows, this is all, I'm elaborating here. Now, so can they keep wave 5 through some sort of stimulus going for longer? Because as I'm seeing it right now is maybe we have this diagonal triangle. We got an A, a B, a C, a D. We're going to pop up, make a new all-time high before we get kicked out of here. Okay? And with that as well is we are in this wedge. And now we've hit it once, twice, 3 times. On the 4th, 5th time, we break. Okay? So maybe we have everything, all the counts even that I'm coming up with, say we're in wave 5. It could be of a super cycle wave 3, but it still doesn't matter because that now ultimately means we're going into wave 4 for correction, right? We're going to have a correction of some sort and magnitude. How big is it going to be? I have no idea. We'll find out once it happens. But how long is wave 5 is going to last? And no one knows that yet as well. But I'm kind of thinking this is maybe an ending diagonal wave 5. Boom. And we're going to come in. So that would put Solana, Bitcoin, and everything else a little bit lower. We don't know yet. And the last piece of evidence that I have that's pointing us just a little bit lower is the 10-year. Okay? Now, I need to kind of sort this out a little bit more, but I have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, pushing up to a 5 to complete primary wave 1. So I've been trying to, and even if I shift this down, still, maybe this is 3 and this is A, B, C, this is 4. I think we're in 4. 4's here, so we're rounding out the corrective part of the interest rates before we go higher. This is a logarithmic, okay? So if interest rates go higher, I'm going to take off logarithmic, and we're going to zoom in here, right? I mean, I've been, there have been many videos I've said that the 10-year yield is looking to go higher, right? Look at what's going on, right? This is Friday, the 2nd of January. Look at that big push. I mean, you can't deny a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder putting in bullish consolidation for a breakout. Or we can say that this is maybe, just beginning our wave count as we do an impulse wave 1, 2, maybe this can't be 3, so this would be, let's do it again. Sorry, I should have had this done already, but this would be 1, 2, and then we would be pushing up 3, and then 4, 5, everything else. But this would be a lower, let's do that intermediate. Let's do that yellow. Hold on, sorry. Let's do that minor, and let's do this intermediate. And we'll do that in white. Something like that. So where this is a push-up 1, this is a 2, and then we're doing a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of just the subwave 3. And then we get a pull back to 4, and then we push higher for 5. So, I don't know. But this is very intriguing to me, is that everything I'm seeing means interest rates are going higher. And what do we know about that? The Fed Chair Powell isn't due to leave until May, and he doesn't like Trump. I don't think they get along. Literally this would take the Fed stepping in to buy U.S. debt. But if we finally see the impulse wave 3, which this would be 3 carrying out to the upside. That's going to put a lot of pressure on the stock market. It's going to put a lot of pressure on crypto. Okay? Now, I'm going to say this again. I think crypto is the bailout. I think interest rates are going to explode. I think they're going to have to step in. They're going to start issuing a whole bunch of treasury-backed stable coins around the world, trying to get our debt monetized through crypto, and that's going to lead to a crypto boom. Now, the ultimate thing that no one knows is how low do we go before we get this leg 3 on Solana that pushes us to new highs. So with that, I hope this helped. It's going to be very interesting to see how this 2026 wraps up. It sounds to me, it's actually the year of the horse, the Chinese New Year, Chinese mythology or astrology. It's the year of the horse. It's actually the year of the red horse. If you know anything from the Bible, the red horse is war. And what have we kicked off 2026 with is, the United States invading Venezuela and escalations in Russia and Ukraine and China with Taiwan and everything else. So, we'll see. We'll see. wave 4 might last a little bit longer here for Bitcoin, for all crypto, before they step in and bail out the system. And I think when they bail out the system once again, it's going to be crypto. They're going to use crypto to help bail out the system. It's going to be a unique way to help bail out the system, to try to get rid of debt, and we'll see how high we go. But definitely we're in subwave 4. We should get a pop to 5. At least this is my count. This is what I'm thinking. Pop to 5, which is when is that pop going to occur? With that, I will conclude. I hope that helped. May God bless you this year. I hope that you are actively seeking Jesus. I don't think we personally have a lot of time left. I don't. I'm not going to call it a year, but I think we're close. I think we're within years, not decades, of this all unraveling, of the rapture and then tribulation beginning. Okay? That, God bless you. Have a great week. Have a great new year. And I will see you soon.